Hello and welcome everybody, Gage here from Sharp, excited to have you with me for another episode of Battle of the Blades. We have three 210mm Gyutos that we're going to compare today, so without further ado, let's get into our initial specs and we'll then start chopping. So first knife we're going to talk about is the 210mm Hatsukokoro Kumokage, made from Aogami No. 2 with an iron cladding, Wenge handle with buffalo horn ferrule, octagonal in shape, so suitable for righties and lefties. Balance point is right about here. Fully reactive knife. This guy is ironclad, so you have to make sure you keep it dry and clean. Has a force patina on it, so that does help a little bit with rust resistance, but not a ton. Make sure you keep it dry. Moving on to our second knife, the Ittetsu Nashiji 210mm Gyuto. Stainless cladding over top of Aogami No. 2, so this guy can rust and discolor as well, but only those 2 to 3 millimeters right at the edge. Walnut handle, striped maple liner, and ebony ferrule on this guy. Balance point is a little further forward on this guy compared to the Hatsukokoro. So if you like a blade heavy knife, this is a great option for you. Third and final knife is the 210mm Shiro Kamo Kurouchi Aogami Super Core with a stainless cladding, walnut handle with rosewood ferrule on it, octagonal in shape, so suitable for righties and lefties. Balance point is about the same as the Ittetsu, a little bit blade heavy. Really beautiful knife. Initial thoughts, I'm probably going to end up taking the Shiro Kamo. It's got a nice tall blade on it. I love Aogami Super. I love the stainless cladding, and I just like the way this guy looks a lot. So let's start chopping up some stuff and see if that holds true. So the first knife we're going to test out is the Hatsukokoro 210mm Gyuto. I really love this knife. I was pleasantly surprised by its performance. I came into this test thinking that this one would probably be second or third, but man, it outperformed my expectations. This was probably my favorite knife for chopping onions. I found that the thinness behind the edge and edge geometry at the tip of the knife really made it easy to go through the onion, and that flat profile really made the push and pull motion super efficient. Handle feel was great as well. It feels fantastic in the hand. No sharp bits on the spine or choil. The only negative thing I would say about this knife was its performance during the rock chop. It certainly wasn't bad. In fact, it was great, but when compared to the other two knives, I found it a little bit lacking, and I think that just goes back to the flatter profile on this guy. It is ironclad, which is another thing to take into consideration. So the most rust-prone knife of the three that we tested out today, but wiping it down immediately after use, I have no rust or any real visible signs of use on this guy after our testing. The next knife we tested out was the Ittetsu Nashiji Gyuto. I was a big fan of this knife, and I still am. I do have a couple issues with it. The lack of blade height was noticeable. When going through the onion, it performed very well. I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but just in comparison to the other two knives, I found it a little bit lacking with the onion. Carrot performed well, but again, it's a little thicker behind the edge and doesn't, the bevels aren't quite as deep on it, so I did notice the edge geometry wasn't spectacular for the carrot, but again, it still felt really sharp and nice. It performed best in the rock chopping of the three knives, and again, that's likely to be due to the more curved blade on this guy. So if you're looking for a more rock chopping knife, and maybe you're new to Japanese knives and you want something that's not quite as delicate, this guy's probably the way to go. Handle feel, really nice as well. The handle's a little more slender on this guy, so I did prefer the Hatsukokoro in hand compared to this guy, but I still find this very comfortable as well. The last knife we tested out was the Shiro Kamo Gyuto. This guy performed well at all the tests we threw at it. I still would say that the Hatsukokoro was my favorite to dice an onion with, but all other tests I gave to this guy. The carrot, whisper quiet going through. The onion dice was still really pleasurable with this guy. The julienne onion was amazing. Where it really shined was when we did the bell pepper rock chop and push and pull chopping on the bell pepper. This guy was absolutely insane. Never got hung up on the skin or anything. So for all those reasons, including the fact that it feels fantastic in the hand and that it's got that nice blade height on it, I decided my favorite knife of the three is going to be the Shiro Kamo. The last reason I'll give is because it's stainless clad as well. So something to keep in mind when shopping for knives, of course, is the maintenance level that you're undertaking. So the Hatsukokoro really needs to stay dry and clean, whereas the Shiro Kamo, if you make a mistake, no big deal. So yeah, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like the video, make sure to dice up that like button, subscribe to our channel for more knife related content, and until the next one, stay sharp.